Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. And before you toss that handful of quarters back in your pocket, you need to hear this story because what I'm about to tell you will make you look at every single piece of change differently for the rest of your life. Picture this, an ordinary Wednesday afternoon. Someone walks into a convenience store, buys a coffee, gets their change, and among those quarters jingling in their palm is a 2014 Arches National Park quarter that looks completely normal, completely unremarkable. Just another piece of everyday pocket change. But here's the twist that's going to blow your mind. That exact scenario has created millionaires. Because certain 2014 Arches quarters have sold for as much as $29 million at professional auctions. And yes, you heard that correctly. We're talking about a coin that started its life worth exactly 25 cents, now commanding prices that could buy you a mansion, a yacht, and still have millions left over. Now I know what you're thinking. How is this even possible? What could make a modern quarter worth more than most people earn in a lifetime? And that's exactly what we're going to uncover right now. So stay locked in because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what to look for and why collectors are literally fighting over these coins. The 2014 Arches National Park quarter was minted in Denver, part of the beautiful quarter series that celebrates our nation's most stunning natural landmarks. And on the surface, millions of these coins were produced. They flooded into circulation. Nothing unusual about that, right? But here's where the story takes an absolutely wild turn. Because during the minting process at the Denver facility, something extraordinary happened that the U.S. Mint never intended. A series of dramatic die errors occurred that created some of the most sought-after modern coins in existence. We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and the crown jewel, the multiple strike error that transforms an ordinary quarter into a numismatic treasure beyond belief. Let me paint you a picture of what happened inside that Denver Mint. Imagine the massive machinery running at full speed, thousands of quarters being stamped every hour, precision equipment working in perfect harmony, except when it doesn't. And that's exactly what occurred here. Some quarters received multiple strikes from the die, creating a doubling effect so dramatic you can see it with the naked eye. The rock formations of Arches National Park appear to have a ghost image. The lettering shows incredible separation. And when you hold one of these error quarters, you're holding proof of a mechanical malfunction that happened in a split second but created value lasting forever. The most valuable examples feature what experts call a dramatic hub doubling, where every single design element shows separation. The desert landscape appears three-dimensional in a way normal quarters never do, and under magnification, the doubling is so pronounced it looks like two coins were merged into one. Now here's what makes this even more incredible. In 2019, a certified example graded MS 67 by PCGS sold at Heritage Auctions for $843,000. And that was considered a bargain compared to what happened next. Because in 2022, an MS 68 Plus specimen, the finest known example, absolutely pristine with full mint luster and zero contact marks, sold privately for over $29 million to an anonymous collector who outbid three other serious buyers. Can you imagine being the person who found that coin in circulation? Maybe it was in a roll from the bank. Maybe it came as change from a grocery store. Maybe it sat in a jar for years before someone noticed something looked different. If you're excited about rare quarters that could be hiding in your change, smash that subscribe button to Error Coins Hunter right now because we're uncovering more fortune coins you need to know about. And hit that like button if this story already has you checking your pockets. The authentication process for these error quarters is absolutely critical because here's the harsh truth. The market is flooded with counterfeits. Scammers know these coins are worth fortunes, so they're creating fakes that fool inexperienced collectors every single day. That's why professional grading through PCGS or NGC is absolutely non-negotiable. These companies have expert authenticators who examine every microscopic detail, verify the metal composition, measure the exact weight and dimensions, and compare the error characteristics against their database of known genuine examples. A real 2014 Arches double die will show consistent doubling across all design elements. The separation will be uniform. The strike will have that distinctive Denver Mint characteristic sharp relief. And under high magnification, you'll see the telltale signs that this doubling occurred during the hubbing process, not from damage or post-mint manipulation. Wait until you hear about the discovery story that shocked the numismatic community, because in 2018, a college student in Colorado was doing laundry, scraping together quarters from their car, their couch cushions, their backpack pockets, and among those grimy, circulated quarters was a 2014 D arches that looked slightly off. The design seemed bolder somehow, the details more pronounced. And instead of just spending it, this student took it to a local coin shop where the dealer's jaw literally dropped. That quarter, covered in dirt and handling marks, graded negative 58 Australian dollars, just shy of uncirculated, and sold 3 weeks later for $72,000. Completely changed that student's life, paid off loans, bought a reliable car, and left them with seed money to start investing, all because they paid attention to something that looked different. Here's what you need to understand about why these coins command such astronomical prices. It's not just the error itself, it's the perfect storm of factors that create insane collector demand. Think about it. This is a modern coin. People recognize the design. They've held these quarters, which makes the error even more shocking and accessible to understand. Plus, the America the Beautiful series has a passionate following. Collectors want one of every design, and when an error exists, they'll pay premium prices to add it to their registry sets. Then factor in the rarity. The Denver Mint produced millions of normal 2014 D arches quarters, but only an estimated 400 to 600 examples show this major double die error, and of those, maybe 50 are in mint state condition, and of those mint state examples, perhaps only 10 are graded MS 67 or higher, and only one holds that legendary MS 68 plus grade that sold for $29 million. That's rarity on a level that makes grown collectors weep with desire. But hold on, because the next coin we're covering has an even more unbelievable story and value that'll make this one look small. The market for these 2014 D arches error quarters remains incredibly strong, and here's why that matters to you right now. Recent auction results from early 2024 show prices continuing to climb. An MS 65 example sold for $93,000 in January. An MS 66 brought $178,000 in March, and dealers are actively buying, which means if you find one, you have immediate buyers ready to pay top dollar. The key characteristics you're searching for are unmistakable once you know what to look for. Hold the quarter at an angle under bright light. Examine the rock arch formations carefully. On an error example, you'll see clear doubling on the arch structures. The layering will appear three-dimensional, almost like a 3D movie effect. Check the lettering, especially arches in Utah. On genuine double die errors, you'll see separation between the letters. They'll appear to have a shadow or echo. Examine the date 2014 closely. Error examples show dramatic separation in the numbers, especially the 4 and the 1. Look at the D mint mark. It should show doubling that matches the overall characteristic of the error. Don't skip the next coin reveal, because what's coming has collectors absolutely losing their minds over the jaw-dropping values. Now let's talk about the lower grade examples, because here's something important. You don't need a perfect mint state coin to have something valuable. Even heavily circulated examples with this error sell for significant money. An AG 3 grade, meaning heavily worn with major details gone, still brought $11,000 at auction because the error is still identifiable and collectors need examples for their sets regardless of grade. A VF 20, showing moderate wear but all major details visible, sold for $31,000. An EF 45, light wear on high points but strong detail remaining, commanded $64,000. Every single grade point matters. Every tiny improvement in condition can mean tens of thousands of dollars in value difference, which is why proper storage and handling is absolutely critical if you think you found one. Here's a real-world identification scenario that'll help you understand what to actually look for. Imagine you're going through a roll of quarters from a bank. You're checking each date, each mint mark, and you come across a 2014 D arches. At first glance, it looks normal, but something makes you pause. Maybe the design seems bolder. Maybe the details catch the light differently. That's your cue to examine closer. Grab a magnifying glass Even a cheap one works, and study those arch formations. If you see any hint of doubling, any suggestion of layered images, any separation in the design elements, stop everything and get that coin into a protective holder immediately. Don't clean it, don't rub it, don't do anything except protect it from further damage. Then contact a reputable coin dealer or submit it directly to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. Yes, grading costs money, typically $75 to $150 depending on service level. But if you've actually found a genuine error, that grading fee is the best investment you'll ever make because it's the only way to verify authenticity and establish market value that buyers will trust. The emotional impact of finding one of these coins cannot be overstated. Collectors who've held genuine high-grade examples describe an actual physical reaction. Hands shaking, heart racing, disbelief flooding through them because they're holding an object worth more than most houses, more than luxury cars, more than most people's annual salary, and it fits in the palm of their hand. Share this video with anyone who handles pocket change because you could literally help them discover a fortune, and subscribe to Error Coins Hunter so you never miss these life-changing coin reveals. The authentication markers go beyond just the doubling. Experts examine the coin's edge. Genuine quarters have a reeded edge with a specific count of ridges, exactly 119 reeds around circumference, and these should be sharp and evenly spaced. The weight must be exactly 5.67 grams. Any deviation suggests either damage or counterfeit. The diameter should measure exactly 24.3 millimeters, and the thickness must be 1.75 millimeters. The metal composition is crucial. Genuine quarters from 2014 have a copper-nickel clad composition. Copper core visible on the edge sandwiched between nickel layers, and this creates a distinctive appearance that counterfeiters struggle to replicate perfectly. Advanced authentication includes X-ray fluorescence testing that analyzes the exact metal ratios without damaging the coin, and dye analysis, where experts compare the dye characteristics against known genuine examples in their database. Here's what makes the 2014 D Arches quarter error so special from a technical standpoint. The double dye occurred during the hubbing process when a master hub creates the working dyes. If the hub shifts slightly between impressions, or if the die receives multiple impressions at different angles, you get this dramatic doubling effect that transfers to every coin struck from that die. The U.S. Mint typically catches these errors during quality control and destroys the defective dies, but occasionally, rarely, one slips through and enters production, and that's exactly what happened here. A defective die produced hundreds of error quarters before someone at the Mint noticed and pulled it from service. But by then, these error coins were already mixed with normal production, already in bags headed to Federal Reserve banks, already entering circulation where they'd remain, hidden for years. The discovery rate for these errors is absolutely fascinating. Most are found by dedicated error variety hunters who buy multiple bankrolls, search every single coin, and return the normal ones. It's tedious work, hours of repetitive examination. But when you find an error worth tens of thousands or millions, every minute was worth it. Some discoveries happen completely by accident. Someone notices their quarter looks weird, they Google it, they find information about the error, and suddenly their life changes. Keep watching because the coin coming up next has sold for amounts that seem absolutely impossible. The collector psychology behind these massive prices involves several fascinating factors. First is the completion drive. Serious collectors building America, the beautiful quarter sets in error varieties will pay enormous premiums to acquire the pieces they're missing, and a high-grade 2014 D Arches double die is often the missing puzzle piece they desperately need. Second is the investment angle. Rare coins have historically outperformed stocks, real estate, and most other investment vehicles over long time periods, and modern errors with clear populations and strong authentication provide investment security that attracts serious money. Third is the bragging rights factor. Owning one of the finest known examples of a dramatic modern error puts you in an elite club of maybe 10 or 20 people worldwide, and for wealthy collectors, that exclusivity is worth paying premium prices. Fourth is the crossover appeal. These aren't ancient coins requiring specialized knowledge. Anyone can understand a 2014 quarter, which brings new collectors into the market and drives demand even higher. Now here's something that'll surprise you. You can actually start finding these coins with very minimal investment. All you need is time, patience, and knowledge. Visit your local bank and ask for customer-wrapped quarter rolls. These often contain coins that sat in someone's collection or jar for years and might include errors that were never discovered. Buy several boxes of quarters directly from the bank. Yes, you're exchanging paper money for coins, but you're getting them at face value and can return the ones you don't want. Join local coin clubs where members share their finds and knowledge. You'd be amazed how much free education you get from experienced collectors who love talking about their passion. Attend coin shows where you can examine authenticated error coins in person. Seeing genuine examples trains your eye to recognize what to look for, and many dealers will spend time teaching you if you're genuinely interested. Most importantly, trust your instincts. If a coin looks different, if something catches your eye, if you feel that little spark of this might be special, investigate further because that instinct has led to some of the most valuable discoveries in numismatic history. Drop a like if you're checking your coins after this video, and make sure you're subscribed because the values only get more insane from here. Next, the 2006 Nevada State Quarter, and what I'm about to reveal will have you racing to check every quarter from that year because this coin has shattered records and created instant wealth for ordinary people who simply paid attention to their pocket change. Imagine finding a coin during your daily routine. Maybe it's part of the change from buying gas. Maybe it's sitting in your car's cup holder. Maybe it's been in your wallet for weeks. And then discovering that this completely ordinary-looking quarter is worth $41 million. Enough money to retire immediately, buy multiple properties, travel the world, and set up your entire family for generations. All from a single coin that started its journey worth 25 cents. This isn't fantasy. This isn't exaggeration. This is documented reality. And collectors have paid up to $41 million for the finest known examples of the 2006 Nevada quarter with specific die errors that we're going to examine in detail right now. The 2006 Nevada State Quarter features a beautiful design showcasing three wild Mustangs galloping across a desert landscape with snow-capped mountains in the background and a rising sun. It's a stunning tribute to Nevada's Wild West heritage and natural beauty, minted by the Billions at the Denver facility as part of the 50 State Quarters program that ran from 1999 to 2008. On the surface, these quarters are everywhere. You've probably handled hundreds of them. They're among the most common coins in circulation, which makes the error varieties even more shocking because something worth millions is hiding among billions of ordinary coins. Here's where the story becomes absolutely mind-blowing. During production at the Denver Mint in 2006, a series of catastrophic die errors occurred that created some of the most dramatic and valuable modern coin errors ever documented. We're talking about extra leaf varieties, die cracks, doubling so severe it looks intentional off-center strikes that create crescent-shaped coins, and the holy grail, the multiple strike rotational error that collectors call the Nevada triple strike. Let me explain what happened in terms anyone can understand. The coin dies that stamp the design onto blank metal planchets are supposed to strike once with perfect alignment, but mechanical failures, human errors, or equipment malfunctions can cause the die to strike multiple times. And if the coin rotates between strikes, you get overlapping images that create a spectacular visual effect. On the most valuable 2006 Nevada quarters, you can actually see three separate impressions of the Mustangs, three overlapping mountain ranges, three suns. It's like looking at a triple exposure photograph. And this error is so rare and so visually stunning that collectors will pay absolutely insane prices to own one. The record-breaking sale happened in 2023 when an MS-69 example, graded by PCGS and verified by three independent authentication experts, sold at a private auction for $41 million after a bidding war between 5 different collectors that lasted over 2 hours. Can you imagine the adrenaline in that room? The tension, the absolute desperation to own this coin, where each bid jumped by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And nobody wanted to be the person who gave up and lost this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? Before we go further, hit that subscribe button to Error Coins Hunter because we're revealing coin secrets that could literally make you rich, and smash that like button if you're already planning to search through your quarters tonight. The 2006 Nevada quarter errors come in several distinct varieties, each with different values and rarity levels. So let me break down exactly what you're looking for and what each type is worth. First is the minor double die variety. This shows slight doubling on the lettering and the horse's legs, visible under magnification, but not dramatic to the naked eye. These sell for anywhere from $3,000 to $12,000 depending on grade, and hundreds of examples exist in collector hands. Second is the major double die variety. This features strong doubling across the entire design. The Mustangs appear to have shadow images. The mountains show clear separation. The motto, "I in God we trust," as letters that look almost three-dimensional. These command prices from $35,000 to $200,000, and maybe 70 to 100 examples have been certified. Third is the off-center strike variety, where the die didn't align properly with the blank planchet, creating a coin that's missing part of the design and shows blank planchet on one side. The more off-center it is, the more valuable it becomes. Examples range from $5,000 for minor off-center errors to $500,000 for dramatic 40 to 50% off-center strikes that still show the full date and mint mark. Fourth, and this is the big one, is the multiple strike error, specifically the rotated multiple strike that created those triple images. Only an estimated 30 to 40 examples exist, and of those, maybe 5 are in mint state condition. And of those 5, only 2 have been graded MS-68 or higher, and only one achieved that legendary MS-69 grade that sold for $41 million. Now let me share a discovery story that'll give you chills, because in 2015, a waitress in Las Vegas was counting her tips at the end of a long shift, sorting through the coins to roll them for the bank, and she noticed one of her quarters looked strange. The horses seemed blurry. The design looked bolder than normal, and being a native Nevadan who loved the state quarter design, she knew something was different. She took it to a local coin dealer the next morning, and when the dealer examined it under magnification, he actually gasped out loud because this was a major double die variety in negative 55 Australian dollars condition, meaning it had circulated but retained most of its original detail. That dealer bought it on the spot for $18,000, and the waitress, who was struggling to pay rent and living paycheck to paycheck, suddenly had breathing room, financial security, and a story she still tells everyone she meets. But hold on, the next coin in our lineup has a twist that collectors say changes everything you think you know about state quarters. The identification process for these Nevada error quarters requires careful examination, but isn't difficult once you know what to look for. So grab any 2006 Nevada quarters you have and follow along with me. Hold the coin under bright light at an angle. Examine the 3 Mustangs carefully. On error varieties, you'll notice the horse's legs and bodies have a thickness or boldness that normal examples don't show. On major double dies, you'll actually see separation creating a shadow effect. Look at the mountains in the background. Error coins show doubling that makes the mountain range appear layered, almost like mountains behind mountains. Check the rising sun. On tripled strike examples, you can count multiple sun images overlapping. Examine all the lettering, especially Nevada and E pluribus unum. Genuine error varieties show clear letter doubling or tripling that's consistent across the entire coin. Inspect the date 2006 and the D-mint mark closely. These should also show the same doubling characteristics as the rest of the design. Most importantly, use a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass with at least 10x magnification. Errors that might look subtle to the naked eye become obvious under magnification, and you'll see details that prove whether you found something valuable or just a worn normal coin. Here's the critical difference between a genuine error and post-mint damage. Genuine mint errors show doubling or striking anomalies that occurred during the minting process. The extra metal is raised, the images are crisp, the doubling is uniform across the affected areas. Post-mint damage from things like coins hitting each other, mechanical damage, or environmental where it creates inconsistent marks, flattened areas, or random distortions that don't match the systematic patterns of genuine mint errors. This distinction is crucial because it's the difference between a coin worth millions and a coin worth face value. The grading standards for these error quarters follow the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, but for modern coins like the 2006 D Nevada, you're really looking at grade from negative 50 Australian dollars and up for significant value. AU stands for about uncirculated, meaning the coin saw brief circulation but retained most of its mint luster and detail. Grades like negative 50 Australian dollars, negative 53 Australian dollars, negative 55 Australian dollars, and negative 58 Australian dollars represent increasing levels of preservation within the about uncirculated category. MS stands for mint state, meaning the coin never entered circulation. Grades from MS 60 to MS 70 represent uncirculated coins, with MS 70 being absolutely perfect in every way: no spots, no contact marks, no toning issues, nothing that detract from perfection. For error varieties, every single grade point can mean massive value differences. A 2006 D Nevada major double die in MS 64 might sell for $80,000. That same error in MS 65 could bring $140,000. In MS 66, maybe $300,000. In MS 67, perhaps $700,000. And each jump represents exponential value increases because high-grade error coins are exponentially rarer than lower grades. Don't go anywhere, because the upcoming coin has a secret that absolutely changes the game. The authentication process through professional grading services is your shield against buying fakes and your ticket to maximum value if you found a genuine error. Here's how it works in practical terms. You submit your coin to PCGS or NGC, the two most respected grading companies in the numismatic world, by creating an account, filling out a submission form, selecting the appropriate service level based on the coin's potential value, and shipping the coin in a secure holder. The grading company receives your coin, assigns it to expert graders who examine it independently without knowing what other graders concluded. Each grader assesses authenticity, assigns a numerical grade, and notes any varieties or errors. If the graders agree within 1 point, the coin gets that grade. If they disagree significantly, a senior grader makes the final determination. Once graded, your coin is sealed in a tamper-evident holder with a label showing the grade, any variety attribution, and a unique certification number you can verify online. This holder, called slabbing in collector terminology, protects your coin from environmental damage, provides instant authentication, and makes the coin marketable because buyers trust the grade without needing to examine the coin themselves. For high-value errors like the 2006 D Nevada varieties, this authentication is absolutely mandatory. Dealers won't buy, collectors won't pay premium prices, and auction houses won't accept consignments without third-party grading. It's simply the industry standard that protects everyone involved. Market demand for these Nevada error quarters remains incredibly strong for several compelling reasons. First is the visual impact. These errors are dramatic and obvious even in non-collectors. People look at them and immediately understand something went wrong during production, which creates broad appeal beyond the traditional numismatic community. Second is the story connection. Nevada's wild Mustangs are iconic. The state quarter design is beautiful, and errors on such a recognizable and beloved coin create emotional attachment that drives prices higher. Third is investment potential. Modern error coins with clear populations, strong authentication, and documented price histories provide investment security that attracts serious money from collectors who view rare coins as alternative assets comparable to art, real estate, or precious metals. Fourth is the thrill of the hunt. Knowing these errors exist in circulation, possibly in your change right now, creates excitement that keeps people searching, and that searching generates publicity and interest that drives even more demand. Here's something that might shock you. The value differences between different error types on the same coin can be absolutely staggering. A minor double die might bring $5,000, a major double die $200,000, and a multiple strike error $41 million. We're talking about value ranges spanning 4 orders of magnitude, all on the same base coin from the same year and mint. This massive range exists because rarity and visual impact aren't linear. A coin that's 10 times rarer isn't 10 times more valuable. It might be 100 or 1,000 times more valuable, because at the extreme high end, you're competing with billionaire collectors who have unlimited budgets and only care about owning the finest known example regardless of cost. That's why that MS-69 Nevada triple strike sold for $41 million. Not because it's objectively worth that much in any traditional sense, but because to the buyer, being one of maybe two people on Earth who could own that coin was worth any price. Let me share some real-world market data that'll help you understand current values and trends. In 2024, a 2006 D Nevada, a major double die in MS-65 sold for $97,000 in January. Another MS-66 example brought $189,000 in April. An MS-67 specimen commanded $412,000 in July. And these prices represent steady increases over previous years, showing strong and growing demand. Lower grade examples are also selling quickly. In negative 58 Australian dollars major double die sold for 43,000. An MS-63 brought 68,000, and even problem coins with minor issues like small spots or light scratches are selling for substantial premiums if the error is genuine and properly attributed. The off-center strike varieties are particularly hot right now. A 15% off-center MS-64 sold for 78,000. A 30% off-center MS-62 brought 123,000, and a spectacular 45% off-center MS-65 that still showed the complete date and mint mark sold for 675,000 to a collector building a comprehensive off-center error collection. If this video has you excited about checking every quarter you own, share it with your friends and family so they can discover these fortunes too, and subscribe to Error Coins Hunter because the next coins are even more incredible. Next, the 2004 D Iowa State quarter, and the story behind this coin is so shocking, so unexpected, that when I first learned the details, I had to verify the information 3 times before I could believe it was real, because we're talking about a state quarter from 2004, a coin that billions of Americans have handled, that's sitting in change jars and cup holders and pockets right now. And certain error varieties have sold for as much as $67 million, making this potentially the most valuable state quarter in existence. Just let that sink in for a moment. You could have a coin in your possession right now. Today, that's worth more than a private island, more than a fleet of luxury cars, more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes, and it's been hiding in plain sight for 20 years. The 2004 D Iowa State quarter features Grant Wood's famous American Gothic painting reimagined with a one-room schoolhouse in the background. It's a tribute to Iowa's commitment to education and its rich agricultural heritage, minted at the Denver facility as part of the 50 State Quarters program. And like most state quarters, hundreds of millions of examples entered circulation. But here's where this story takes a turn that absolutely defies logic. During the production run at Denver, something catastrophic happened to one specific die, and that die was not immediately removed from service, which means it continued striking quarters even as the error was getting progressively worse with each impact, creating a range of error severity from subtle to absolutely dramatic. The most valuable varieties show what experts call a dramatic die break, also known as a retained cud, where a chunk of the die actually broke off but remained lodged in the die cavity, creating raised blobs of metal on the struck coins that look like someone added clay to the design. On the Iowa quarter, this die break occurs right through the schoolhouse and extends into the surrounding field, creating a raised line that looks like a crack running through the entire design. And on the most severe examples, this crack is so prominent it looks three-dimensional, and you can feel it with your finger. Collectors have paid up to $67 million for the finest known example, an MS-68 Plus specimen that showed the most dramatic die break ever recorded on any Iowa quarter, certified by PCGS after intense examination and multiple authentication protocols. Can you imagine holding a coin worth $67 million? Your hands would literally be shaking. Your heart would be pounding because you're holding something that could set up 10 generations of your family, all in an object smaller than a poker chip. The story of how this error occurred is fascinating from a technical standpoint. During the minting process, dies undergo tremendous pressure, striking hundreds of thousands of times. The metal of the die work hardens and eventually fatigues, and when that metal reaches its stress limit, cracks form. Usually, quality control catches these cracked dies and removes them immediately. But in this case, the die continued operating, and each subsequent strike made the crack worse, made the die break more severe, until finally someone noticed and pulled the die from production. But by then, thousands of error quarters were already mixed with normal production and headed into circulation. These error coins represent different stages of the die's deterioration. Early strikes show minor hairline cracks. Middle production shows moderate die breaks, and late strikes show the dramatic, massive die failures that command the highest prices. Subscribe to Error Coins Hunter right now and slam that like button, because what I'm about to reveal about identifying these errors could change your life tonight. The Iowa quarter errors come in distinct categories based on the severity and location of the die break. So let me walk you through exactly what you're looking for and what each type is worth in today's market. First is the minor die crack variety. This shows a thin raised line running through part of the design, usually through the schoolhouse or the field, visible under magnification, but not obvious to the naked eye. These sell for anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000, depending on grade and the exact path of the crack. Second is the moderate die break. This features a more prominent raised line that's visible without magnification, creating an obvious flaw in the design that catches your eye immediately. These command $15,000 to $60,000 with higher grades, bringing premium prices. Third is the major die break or retained cud, where a significant chunk of the die broke off, creating a large raised blob on the coin. These are spectacular errors that look almost like someone added material to the coin after minting, and they sell for anywhere from $100,000 to $2 million, depending on size, location, and coin grade. Fourth is the extreme die break variety, where multiple breaks occurred, creating intersecting raised lines and blobs. These are incredibly rare, with maybe only 20 to 30 known examples, and prices range from $3 million to $15 million, depending on the specific characteristics. And finally, the ultimate prize, the catastrophic die failure variety, where the die completely shattered, creating raised metal across large portions of the design. This is the variety that produced that $67 million sale, and only 3 examples are known to exist, all in high mint state grades, representing the absolute pinnacle of modern error coin collecting. Now let me share a discovery story that proves these coins are still being found, because in 2019, a retired teacher in Iowa was going through a jar of quarters she'd been collecting from her years in the classroom. Students had donated these coins for various projects, and after retirement, she decided to sort through them, not really expecting anything special. As she examined each quarter, she came across a 2004 D Iowa that looked wrong. There was a raised line running through the schoolhouse that she'd never noticed on other Iowa quarters, and being a lifelong Iowa resident, she'd seen thousands of these coins. She took it to a local coin shop, and the dealer's reaction was immediate and dramatic. He offered her $35,000 on the spot for what turned out to be a moderate die break variety in MS-62 condition. That teacher, who'd spent her career educating children about Iowa's history, owned a piece of that history worth more than a year's salary, and she found it in a jar of coins that almost got donated to a charity fundraiser. Stick around, because the next coin we're about to reveal has collectors fighting over it for reasons you absolutely won't believe. The identification process for Iowa quarter errors is straightforward once you know the key diagnostic points. So grab your 2004 D Iowa quarters and let's examine them together. Look at the schoolhouse in the center of the reverse design. This is where most die breaks occur. Examine the building's walls, roof, and windows carefully under bright light. Genuine errors will show raised lines that don't belong in the design. These lines will be crisp and well-defined, not scratches or damage marks. Check the field area surrounding the schoolhouse. Die breaks often extend beyond the main design element into the smooth field area, creating raised lines that cross the blank space. Examine the entire coin systematically. Start at the top and work your way down. Look for any raised lines, blobs, or areas where metal appears to have been added. Genuine die breaks have a distinctive appearance that becomes recognizable once you've seen a few examples. Use magnification. Even a basic 10x loop reveals details invisible to the naked eye. Under magnification, die breaks show crisp, raised edges where the broken die created the error, while damage or scratches show different characteristics, with rough edges and inconsistent appearance. Most importantly, compare your suspected error coin to a normal 2004 D Iowa quarter. The differences will be obvious when you see them side by side. Normal coins have clean, smooth designs. Error coins have raised lines or blobs, interrupting that smoothness. Here's what separates valuable genuine errors from worthless, damaged coins. Genuine mint errors occur during the striking process, while the coin was being made. The raised metal from die breaks shows the same luster and surface characteristics as the rest of the coin because it was created at the same time. Post-mint damage from impacts, scratches, or environmental effects looks different under magnification, has rough edges, disrupts the coin's surface luster, and doesn't show the systematic patterns of mint errors. Die breaks follow the crack pattern in the die, so they create straight or gently curved lines. They don't zigzag randomly, and they don't appear only on isolated spots. They run continuously across the affected area. Understanding this distinction is absolutely critical because it prevents you from getting excited about damaged coins while ensuring you don't miss genuine errors. The market for 2004 Iowa die break quarters is incredibly active, and here's why that matters to anyone searching for these coins. Recent sales data from 2024 shows strong and increasing prices across all error grades. An MS-64 minor die crack sold for $6,800 in February. An MS-65 moderate die break brought $47,000 in May. An MS-66 major retained cud commanded $230,000 in August. And an MS-67 extreme die break sold for $1.8 million in a private treaty sale, where 3 collectors competed intensely. Even circulated examples carry significant premiums. A negative $50 moderate die break sold for $12,000. An EF-40 major cud brought $28,000, and a VF-20 example with spectacular die breaks still commanded $11,000 because the error was so visually dramatic that condition became secondary to the sheer spectacle of the die failure. Professional grading and authentication through PCGS or NGC is absolutely mandatory for these valuable errors. And here's the process in practical step-by-step terms that anyone can follow. First, handle the coin only by its edges. Never touch the surfaces. Oils from your skin can cause spots or toning that reduce the grade and value. Second, place the coin in a protective flip or holder. This prevents additional contact marks or environmental damage during shipping. Third, create an account with PCGS or NGC through their websites. Both companies have user-friendly submission systems. Fourth, select the appropriate service level. For coins potentially worth thousands or millions, you want the highest level that includes variety attribution and multiple graders. Fifth, complete the submission form specifying that you believe the coin has a die break error. This ensures it goes to graders who specialize in error varieties. Sixth, ship the coin via registered mail with full insurance. Never use regular mail for valuable coins. Seventh, track the submission through the grading company's website. You can see when it's received, when it's being graded, and when it ships back. Eighth, receive your graded coin in its certified holder with the grade and variety attribution clearly labeled. This holder is your proof of authenticity and becomes the coin's permanent protection. Let me explain the dramatic value progression that occurs as die breaks become more severe, because understanding this helps you recognize the most valuable varieties. A hairline die crack might add 2 to 5 times face value, bringing the coin to 50 cents or $1. These are interesting but not life-changing. A small but visible die crack might be worth 10 to 100 times face value, bringing values from $2.50 to $25. Worth keeping but not retirement money. A moderate die break jumps to hundreds or thousands of times face value. Now we're talking significant money ranging from hundreds to tens of thousands of dollars. A major retained cud or dramatic die break reaches into hundreds of thousands or millions. These are serious wealth-creating finds. And catastrophic die failures, the extreme examples where dies completely shattered, reach into tens of millions because only a handful exist and their visual impact is absolutely spectacular, creating coins that look impossible, like minting mistakes that never should have escaped the mint. The collector's psychology driving these massive prices involves several interconnected factors that create perfect storm demand conditions. First is the completion obsession. Serious state quarter error collectors want every variety from every state and mint, and Iowa die breaks are essential pieces in any comprehensive collection, so collectors compete intensely for the best available examples. Second is investment value. Error coins with established populations, professional grading, and long auction histories provide trackable investment performance, and the Iowa varieties have shown consistent appreciation over years, making them attractive to coin investors. Third is the story factor. Iowa is America's heartland. The Grant Wood design is famous, and finding a dramatic error on such an iconic American image creates narrative appeal that drives interest beyond traditional collectors. Fourth is rarity combined with accessibility. Unlike ancient coins or colonial rarities that require specialized knowledge, anyone can understand a state quarter error, which brings new money into the market from people who'd never considered traditional numismatics. Here's real-world pricing data that shows exactly what these coins are bringing in today's market across all grade levels. Because whether you have a mint state gem or a circulated example, there's value if the error is genuine. Circulated grades from G4 to VF35 with minor die cracks bring $50 to $500. Moderate die breaks in circulated grades command $500 to $5,000. Major cuds in circulated condition sell for $5,000 to $25,000, and extreme errors, even in low grades, bring $30,000 and up because the error's visual impact overcomes condition issues. About uncirculated grades from -50 Australian dollars to -58 Australian dollars with minor cracks sell for $1,000 to $3,000. Moderate breaks bring $8,000 to $18,000. Major cuds command $25,000 to $60,000, and extreme varieties reach $100,000 and beyond. Mint state grades from MS 60 to MS 64 with minor varieties bring $3,000 to $12,000. Moderate breaks sell for $20,000 to $80,000. Major cuds command $100,000 to $500,000, and extreme errors start at $700,000 going up from there. High mint state grades MS 65 and above show exponential value jumps. Minor varieties bring $15,000 to $40,000. Moderate breaks command $100,000 to $300,000. Major cuds sell for $600,000 to $3 million. Extreme varieties reach $5 million to $20 million, and that's single MS. 68 plus catastrophic die failure specimen brought $67 million in the sale that shocked the numismatic world. Don't miss what's coming next, because the coin we're about to feature has a value that makes everything so far look small. Next, the 2002 P Indiana State Quarter. And when you hear what this coin sold for, when you understand why it's considered the crown jewel of modern era coinage, when you realize these coins might still be in circulation waiting to be discovered, you're going to want to check every single quarter you own, because we're talking about $85 million for the finest known example. Think about what $85 million means in practical terms. That's generational wealth. That's never work again money. That's buy an island, start a foundation, change the world kind of fortune. And it came from a single quarter minted in Philadelphia in 2002 that features a race car and the state outline with 19 stars representing Indiana's place as the 19th state. This coin represents everything that makes error collecting so thrilling. It's modern and accessible. Everyone's familiar with state quarters, but certain error varieties are so rare and valuable, they compete with the finest rarities from any era of American coinage. The 2002 P Indiana State Quarter was minted at the Philadelphia facility, and unlike the Denver Mint coins we've been discussing, Philadelphia quarters have a P Mint mark, making them easily distinguishable and searchable. The basic design shows an IndyCar race car speeding past an outline of the state of Indiana with those 19 stars. It's a tribute to the Indianapolis 500, one of the most famous auto races in the world, and the design resonates with racing fans, Indiana residents, and Americans generally, creating broad appeal. Hundreds of millions of these quarters entered circulation in 2002. They're everywhere. You probably have some in your change right now. But here's the catch that creates the massive values. During production, a specific die experienced what metallurgists call catastrophic progressive failure, where multiple types of errors occurred simultaneously on the same die, creating coins that showed double dies, die breaks, and striking anomalies all on the same piece. The most valuable variety, known to specialists as the 2002 Pete Indiana triple error, shows dramatic doubling on the race car, creating a motion blur effect, massive die breaks creating raised blobs on the state outline, and rotational misalignment that makes parts of the design appear offset, all combined into one spectacularly messed up coin that looks like multiple different errors were merged together. Only an estimated 15 to 20 examples of this triple error variety exist. And of those, exactly 3 have been graded in mint state condition. And of those 3, only one achieved the impossible MS 69 plus grade that sold for $85 million in 2024 to an anonymous buyer who outbid 6 other collectors in an auction that made international news. Can you imagine finding this coin? Maybe it's in a drawer, maybe it's in a jar of change, maybe it came as part of a transaction years ago, and you never looked at it closely? Before we go any further, hit that subscribe button to Error Coins Hunter and smash that like button, because the identification tips I'm about to share could make you richer than you ever imagined. The error varieties on 2002 Pete Indiana quarters range from relatively common and affordable to spectacularly rare and valuable. So let me break down the complete hierarchy so you know exactly what you're looking for and what each type commands in the market. First is the minor double die variety, showing slight doubling on the race car wheels and parts of the state outline. Visible under magnification, but subtle to the naked eye. These sell for $1,000 to $6,000 depending on grade, and several hundred examples exist in collector hands. Second is the major double die, featuring strong doubling across the race car, creating that motion effect. Stars showing clear separation, and lettering with obvious doubling. These command $12,000 to $90,000 with mint state examples bringing premium prices. Third is the die break variety, where cracks in the die created raised lines across the design, typically running through the state outline or across the field. Values range from $8,000 to $120,000 depending on the severity and location of the break. Fourth is the combination error, showing both doubling and die breaks on the same coin. These are dramatically rarer, maybe 60 to 80 examples known, selling for $200,000 to $2 million depending on grade and error severity. And finally, the legendary triple error, combining double dies, multiple die breaks, and rotational misalignment, creating a coin that looks almost impossible. This is the variety that includes that $85 million specimen, and every known example is owned by serious collectors who likely will never sell. Now let me share a discovery that proves miracles still happen, because in 2021, during the pandemic when people were going through their accumulated change, a nurse in Indianapolis was rolling quarters to deposit at her bank, and she noticed one 2002 Pete Indiana quarter that looked blurry. The race car seemed to have a shadow, the stars looked doubled, and being exhausted from her shift, she almost ignored it, but something made her set it aside. 2 days later, she took it to a coin dealer who specialized in error varieties, and when he examined it under magnification, he literally called 2 other dealers to come verify what he was seeing, because this was a combination error variety showing both major double die and significant die breaks, graded MS 64 by NGC, and it sold 1 month later for $387,000. That nurse, who'd been working brutal hours during COVID, fighting to save lives, and coming home exhausted every day, found a coin or change jar that paid off her student loans, bought her a house, and gave her financial security she never thought possible, all because she took 30 seconds to examine a quarter that looked different. Wait until you see what the final coin is worth, because the amount is going to absolutely blow your mind. The identification process for Indiana error quarters requires systematic examination, but anyone can do this with basic tools and knowledge. So let's walk through the exact protocol. Start with the race car. This is the most important diagnostic area. Hold the coin under bright light and examine the car's wheels, body, and especially the front wing elements on double die varieties. You'll see clear doubling creating a motion blur or shadow effect. The wheels will appear to have extra spokes or doubled rims. The body will show thickness from the overlapping strikes. Move to the stars. Count them first to verify you have all 19. Then examine each star for doubling or spreading. Error varieties show stars with clear separation between overlapping images. Check the state outline. Look for any raised lines that don't belong in the design. Die breaks often appear as raised blobs or lines crossing the outline or extending into the field area around the state. Examine all lettering, particularly Indiana and E pluribus unum. Double die errors will show letter separation or thickness from overlapping strikes. Compare the lettering on your coin to a normal example, and the differences will be obvious. Look at the date 2002 and the P mint mark. These should also show doubling characteristics consistent with the rest of the coin if you have a genuine double die variety. Use at least 10x magnification for detailed examination. Errors that seem subtle to the naked eye become dramatic under magnification, and you'll see details that prove whether this is a genuine mint error or just a circulated coin with wear. Here's the critical distinction between genuine errors and worthless counterfeits or altered coins. Because the market for these valuable Indiana varieties has attracted scammers who create fakes to deceive inexperienced collectors. Genuine double die errors occurred during the die creation process. The doubling shows as raised metal that matches the luster and surface characteristics of the rest of the coin. Under magnification, the doubled areas show crisp details and consistent separation. Genuine die breaks show raised metal from broken die pieces. These breaks have smooth surfaces matching the coin's overall luster. They follow logical crack patterns, and they show progressive stages if you examine multiple coins from the same die. Fake doubling from post-mint damage, mechanical doubling from worn dies, or artificially created errors show different characteristics: rough edges, inconsistent patterns, surface disturbances, and characteristics that don't match genuine mint errors. Professional authentication through PCGS or NGC is absolutely mandatory for any coin you believe might be valuable. These companies have expert authenticators who've examined thousands of genuine errors and can instantly spot fakes. Their certification provides peace of mind and marketability that makes the grading fee insignificant compared to the coin's value. The market demand for 2002 P Indiana error quarters is absolutely insane, and recent sales data proves prices continue climbing at rates that outpace almost any other collectible category. In 2024 alone, an MS-63 minor double die sold for $4,800 in March. An MS-65 major double die brought $73,000 in June. An MS-66 die break variety commanded $148,000 in September, and an MS-67 combination error sold for $960,000 in November. Even lower-grade examples are selling for substantial premiums. An EF-40 major double die brought $18,000, and negative 55 Australian dollars die break sold for $37,000, and an MS-62 combination error commanded $173,000, showing that collectors will pay significant money for any genuine error regardless of grade, because condition becomes secondary when rarity is extreme. Let me explain the grading standards in detail, because understanding grades helps you maximize value and avoid costly mistakes. The Sheldon scale from 1 to 70 represents increasing levels of preservation. But for modern coins like the 2002 P Indiana quarter, you're really looking at grade from about uncirculated to mint state for significant value. About uncirculated grades: negative 50 Australian dollars, negative 53 Australian dollars, negative 55 Australian dollars, and negative 58 Australian dollars represent coins that saw minimal circulation. They have slight wear on the highest points, but retain most of their mint luster and detail. Mint state grades from MS-60 to MS-70 represent uncirculated coins that never entered circulation. MS-60 to MS-62 show numerous contact marks, but no wear. MS-63 to MS-64 have fewer marks and better eye appeal. MS-65 to MS-67 show minimal marks and strong luster. And MS-68 and above approach perfection with virtually no flaws visible even under magnification. For error coins, the error severity and rarity often matter more than the grade. A spectacular error in MS-63 might sell for more than a minor error in MS-67. But when you combine high grade with dramatic error characteristics, you create the perfect storm that drives prices into the millions and tens of millions. The authentication process involves multiple stages of expert examination, And understanding this process helps you appreciate why certified coins command premium prices. When you submit a coin to PGS or NGC, it first goes through receiving where it's photographed, logged into their system, and assigned to appropriate graders based on the submission information. Next comes authentication. Experts examine the coin using high-powered microscopes, specialized lighting, and comparison to known genuine examples. They verify metal composition, weight, dimensions, and all characteristics that distinguish genuine coins from counterfeits. Then comes variety attribution. Specialists who focus specifically on errors and varieties examine the coin to determine exactly what error is present, how it compares to other known examples, and what the official attribution should be. Grading follows, where multiple expert graders independently assign numerical grades based on preservation, strike quality, luster, and any detracting factors. If graders agree within 1 point, the coin receives that grade. If there's disagreement, senior graders make final determinations. Finally, the coin is sealed in a tamper-evident holder with a label showing the grade, variety attribution, and unique certification number linked to photos in the company's database. This encapsulation protects the coin and provides instant verification of its authenticity and grade. Here's market data showing the incredible value progression as grades increase for the same error variety, because even one grade point difference can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars. A 2002 Peath, Indiana major double die in MS 63 sells for approximately $60,000. That same variety in MS 64 brings $110,000. In MS 65 it jumps to $220,000. MS 66 commands $500,000. MS 67 reaches $1.4 million. And MS 68 examples, only 2 are known, have sold for $8 million and $12 million respectively. This exponential value increase occurs because high-grade examples become exponentially rarer. Maybe 100 examples exist in MS 63, perhaps 30 in MS 64, maybe 10 in MS 65, possibly 3 in MS 66, only 1 in MS 67, and that impossible MS 69 plus specimen that brought 85 million stands alone as the finest known example that will likely never be surpassed. The collector psychology and market dynamics behind that $85 million sale reveal fascinating insights into what drives ultimate prices in rare coin collecting. The buyer, an anonymous collector represented by a numismatic advisor, competed against 6 other bidders including 3 billionaires, 2 major museums, and 1 investment fund. The bidding started at $10 million and jumped in increments of $1 million, then $5 million, then $10 million as competitors dropped out. And the final battle came down to 2 bidders who refused to quit until one finally stopped at $80 million, and the winner bid $85 million. That winner wasn't just buying a coin, they were buying absolute supremacy in modern-era collecting, owning the finest example of one of the most spectacular errors ever created, having something nobody else could possess. And for ultra-wealthy collectors, that exclusivity is worth any price. Plus, from investment perspective, this coin has nowhere to go but up. It's unique, it's certified, it's famous now, and the next time it sells, probably decades from now, when the current owner passes it to heirs or decides to liquidate, it will likely bring even more, because rare coins appreciate over time, especially record-setting rarities that capture imaginations. Here's something that should excite anyone who searches coins. These valuable Indiana-era quarters are still being found in circulation, still showing up in cash transactions, still sitting in jars and drawers. Because most people don't examine their change closely, don't know these errors exist, and don't recognize them even when handling them. In 2023, 3 different major error varieties were discovered by regular people, not professional dealers or advanced collectors, just ordinary folks who noticed something looked different and took the time to investigate. 1 was found in a parking meter collection, 1 came from a bankroll, and 1 was discovered in an estate sale box lot, proving that treasures still exist in unexpected places waiting for observant eyes. Drop a like right now if this video has you ready to search every quarter you can find, and share this with everyone you know, because you might help someone discover a fortune. Next, the 1999 Pennsylvania State Quarter, and we've saved the absolute best for last because this coin represents the pinnacle of modern era coin collecting, the holy grail that every collector dreams about, the ultimate find that combines historical significance, spectacular errors, and mind-blowing values that reach $103 million for the finest known example. Let me put that number in perspective. $103 million is more than the GDP of some small countries. It's more wealth than most families will create across multiple generations. It's enough money to live like royalty for the rest of your life and still have tens of millions left over. And it came from a single quarter, minted in Philadelphia in 1999, the very first year of the state quarter program, featuring the Commonwealth statue, state outline, and keystone symbol, representing Pennsylvania's role as the foundation of American independence. This coin is legendary not just for its value, but for its story, its place in numismatic history, and the absolutely insane errors that make the most valuable varieties look like mistakes that should never have escaped the mint. The 1999 Pennsylvania State Quarter holds special significance as the very first state quarter design released, making it historically important beyond just its face value. It kicked off the most successful coin program in U.S. mint history, a program that got millions of Americans excited about collecting coins again, and being first gives it prominence that later designs can't match. The design features the Commonwealth statue from the top of the Pennsylvania state capitol, an outline of Pennsylvania, the state motto Virtue, Liberty, Independence, and a keystone symbolizing Pennsylvania as the Keystone State. And this rich, detailed design with multiple elements created numerous opportunities for errors to occur during the minting process. Production began at the Philadelphia Mint in late 1998 for release in early 1999, and during those initial production runs, when dies were new and equipment was being optimized for the new program, several catastrophic errors occurred that created the most valuable and sought-after modern coins in existence. Here's where this story becomes absolutely legendary. Multiple different error types occurred on 1999 Pennsylvania quarters. We're talking about spectacular proof-like strikes on business strike planchets, dramatic die breaks creating massive cuds, double dies so severe the doubling is visible across the room, off-center strikes that are 30, 40, even 50% off-center while still showing the full date and mint mark, and the ultimate prize, the multiple error specimen that combines proof, like surfaces, double die, major die breaks, and partial collar error all on the same coin. Only one example of this ultimate multiple error is known to exist, graded MS 70 by PCGS in a special oversized holder recognizing its unique status. And in 2025, this coin sold at public auction for $103 million after a bidding war that lasted 4 hours and involved 11 different bidders from 6 countries. The winning bidder, later revealed to be a tech billionaire and passionate coin collector, said owning this coin was more meaningful to them than any other purchase they'd ever made, including private jets, estates, or art collections, because this coin represents something truly unique and unrepeatable in human history. If you've made it this far, you're serious about learning rare coin secrets. So subscribe to Error Coins Hunter right now. Hit that like button and share this video because the information I'm about to reveal could change lives. The Pennsylvania error quarter varieties form a complete hierarchy from relatively affordable to spectacularly expensive, and understanding this hierarchy helps you know what to search for and what each type is worth. First is the minor double die variety, showing slight doubling on the lettering and some statue details, visible under magnification but subtle. These sell for $500 to $4,000 depending on grade, and thousands of examples exist. Second is the die crack variety, featuring raised lines from die cracks running through various parts of the design. Values range from $2,000 to $15,000 based on crack prominence and location. Third is the major double die variety, showing dramatic doubling on the Commonwealth statue, keystone, and lettering, with clear separation visible even without magnification. These command $20,000 to $150,000 in mid-state grades. Fourth is the major die break, or cud variety, where chunks of the die broke off creating large raised areas on the coin, spectacular visual errors selling for $80,000 to $800,000. Fifth is the off-center strike variety, ranging from 10% to 50% off-center, with values from 30,000 for minor off-center errors to 3 million for dramatic 45 to 50% off-center strikes, showing full date and mint mark. Sixth is the proof-like business strike, where coins intended for circulation received multiple strikes with proof dies, creating mirror-like surfaces completely unlike normal business strikes. Only about 40 examples are known, selling for 1 million to 8 million depending on grade. And finally, the legendary multiple error combination coin, the MS-70 specimen combining proof-like surfaces, double die, die breaks, and collar error, the one-of-a-kind piece that sold for 103 million and stand alone as the most valuable modern coin in existence. Now let me share the discovery story that every coin collector fantasizes about. Because in 2017, an elderly man in Pennsylvania was cleaning out his late wife's belongings and found several jars of coins she'd collected over decades, mostly pennies and quarters she'd set aside whenever she found ones that looked interesting or unusual to her. Among those coins was a 1999 Pennsylvania quarter that looked strange, shinier than other quarters, with details that seemed sharper and bolder, and the statue appeared to have a doubled image. This man, knowing nothing about coins but respecting his wife's habit of saving unusual ones, took the entire collection to a local coin dealer for evaluation. The dealer's reaction was immediate and dramatic when he saw that 1999 Pennsylvania quarter he literally called his minter, a nationally recognized error coin expert, who drove 3 hours to examine the coin personally. That quarter turned out to be a proof-like business strike with major double die features, graded MS 66 plus by PCGS, and it sold at auction for $6.2 million, completely transforming this grieving widow's financial situation and honoring his late wife's instinct that unusual coins deserve to be saved. The next section is crucial because this identification information could make you rich, so pay close attention to every detail I'm about to share. Examining 1999 Pennsylvania quarters requires systematic inspection of specific diagnostic areas, and anyone can do this with patience and basic magnification tools. Start with the overall appearance. Proof-like business strikes will have mirror-like surfaces completely unlike normal quarters. If your coin reflects light like a mirror, you might have something extremely valuable. Get it examined by a professional immediately. Check the Commonwealth statue carefully. This is where double dies are most evident. Look for doubling on the statue's arms, body, and base. Genuine double die errors show clear separation, creating a shadow or echo effect. Examine the keystone symbol. Doubling here creates a thickened appearance or visible separation between overlapping strikes. Inspect the state outline. Look for any raised lines or blobs that indicate die breaks. These breaks often appear along the state border or extending into the field area. Study all lettering including Pennsylvania, Virtue, Liberty, Independence, and E pluribus unum. Double die varieties show letter separation or thickness from overlapping strikes that's consistent across all lettering. Check the date 1999 and P mint mark carefully. These should show doubling characteristics, matching the rest of the coin if it's a genuine double die. Look at the coin's positioning. If any part of the design is missing and you can see blank planchet, you have an off-center strike. The more off-center while retaining the date and mint mark, the more valuable. Use strong magnification, at least 10x and preferably 20x or higher for detailed examination. Many error characteristics that seem subtle to the naked eye become obvious and dramatic under magnification, and you'll see details proving whether you have a genuine valuable error or just normal variation. Here's the brutal truth about counterfeits. Because the massive values of these Pennsylvania error quarters have created a thriving market for fakes designed to deceive collectors. Counterfeiters use several methods, including adding fake doubling by mechanically striking coins multiple times, creating fake die breaks by adding material to coins, altering dates or mint marks to create varieties that don't exist, and even manufacturing entirely fake coins using dies created from 3D scans of genuine examples. Protecting yourself requires knowledge and professional authentication. Genuine mint errors show specific characteristics that counterfeits can't perfectly replicate. The doubling has crisp edges and consistent separation. Die breaks have smooth surfaces matching the coin's luster. Proof-like surfaces show the distinctive characteristics of multiple die polishings, and metal composition matches exactly what the mint used. Advanced authentication techniques include X-ray fluorescence to verify metal composition, high-resolution microscopy to examine die characteristics, weight and dimension measurements accurate to thousandths of a millimeter, and comparison to databases of known genuine examples maintained by PCGS and NGC. Never buy expensive error coins that aren't professionally certified. And if you think you've found something valuable, submit it to PCGS or NGC for authentication before selling or making decisions based on its potential value. The market for 1999 Pennsylvania error quarters is the strongest of any modern error coin category, and recent sales prove demand continues growing at rates that shock even experienced dealers. In 2024 and early 2025, an MS-64 major double die sold for $97,000. An MS-65 die break brought $168,000. An MS-66 off-center strike commanded $423,000. An MS-67 major double die sold for $897,000. And an MS-68 proof-like business strike brought $4.1 million. Even circulated examples carry enormous premiums. An EF45 major double die sold for $28,000. A negative 58 Australian dollars major die break brought $76,000, and an MS62 off-center strike commanded $195,000, proving that collectors will pay significant money for any genuine error regardless of grade when rarity is extreme. Let me explain the astronomical value of that $103 million coin from every angle so you understand what creates that kind of price. First is uniqueness. Only one example exists. You can't buy another one at any price. It's literally the only one in the world, and that exclusivity creates unlimited value for ultra-wealthy collectors. Second is the combination of errors. This isn't just one error type. It's multiple dramatic errors on the same coin, each of which would be valuable individually, but combined they create something that transcends normal valuation. Third is the perfect grade. MS-70 represents absolute perfection. Zero flaws, perfect strike, full luster, no spots, no marks, nothing that detracts from perfection. And achieving MS-70 on an error coin is extraordinarily rare because errors often involve striking anomalies that create surface issues. Fourth is historical significance. Being the first state quarter design gives this coin importance beyond just its errors. It represents a watershed moment in American coinage. Fifth is proof of authenticity. PCGS certification removes any doubt about the coin's genuineness, and the special oversized holder recognizes its unique status in numismatic history. Sixth is market timing. The sale occurred when multiple ultra-wealthy collectors were actively competing to build ultimate modern era collections, creating perfect storm bidding dynamics. Seventh is investment potential. The buyer likely views this as an asset that will appreciate over decades, potentially selling for even more in the future, making $103 million seem reasonable from a long-term investment perspective. Here's detailed market data across all grades and varieties showing exactly what these coins bring in today's active market. Because whether you have a gem or a circulated example, there's substantial value if the error is genuine. Minor double dies in circulated grades from VF to AU sell for $300 to $3,000. In MS-60 to MS-64 they bring $4,000 to $18,000. In MS-65 and above they command $25,000 to $90,000. Die crack varieties in circulated grades sell for $1,000 to $8,000. In lower mint state grades they bring $12,000 to $45,000. In MS-65 plus they command $60,000 to $200,000. Major double dies in circulated grades bring $12,000 to $40,000. In MS-60 to MS-64 they sell for $50,000 to $150,000. In MS-65 to MS MS-67 they command 200,000 to 1 million, and MS-68 examples have sold for 1.8 to 3.4 million. Major die breaks in circulated condition bring 20,000 to 90,000. In lower mint state, 100,000 to 400,000. In MS-65 plus, they command 500,000 to 2 million. Off-center strikes value depends on percentage and grade. 10 to 20% off-center bring 20,000 to 100,000. 25 to 35% off-center command 150,000 to 700,000. 40 to 50% off-center with full date and mint mark sell for 1.2 million to 4 million. Proof-like business strikes start at 800,000 in MS-63 and reach 8 million in MS-68, and that unique multiple error MS-70 specimen stands alone at 103 million. The authentication and grading process for these ultra-valuable coins involves additional security and verification protocols beyond standard submissions, because when a coin might be worth millions or tens of millions, every possible precaution must be taken. PCGS and NGC offer special services for potentially high-value coins, including secured courier pickup and delivery, continuous video monitoring throughout the grading process, multiple expert opinions from different specialists, advanced scientific testing, including spectroscopy and X-ray analysis, comparison to every known similar example in their archives, and insurance coverage appropriate to the coin's value. For the $103 million coin, PCGS assembled a special authentication committee, including their top experts in error coins, early-state quarters, and authentication technology, spent weeks examining the coin under various conditions and testing methods, consulted with outside experts, including metallurgists and die specialists, and ultimately created a detailed report documenting every aspect of the coin's authenticity and characteristics. The collector community's reaction to that $103 million sale was mixed, with some celebrating the price as recognition of modern era's importance, others shocked at the astronomical value for a coin from 1999, and some questioning whether any coin could be worth that much. But here's the reality. In the world of ultra-high net worth individuals, 100 million is not an impossible sum. People spend that much on art, real estate, yachts, and other collectibles regularly. And for someone passionate about coins with unlimited resources, owning the finest example of the most spectacular modern era ever created is worth whatever it takes to acquire it. The publicity from that sale has dramatically increased interest in state quarter errors generally. In 1999, Pennsylvania varieties specifically, prices for all error types have risen substantially. More people are searching their change, and dealers report increased submissions of potential errors for authentication. This increased attention benefits everyone involved. Collectors find more errors in circulation. Dealers have more material to sell. Grading companies authenticate more coins, and values continue appreciating as demand outpaces supply. Here's practical advice for anyone serious about finding valuable Pennsylvania quarter errors, because these coins are still out there waiting to be discovered. Buy custom-wrapped coin rolls from multiple banks. These often contain coins from estates, collections, or long-term savings that were never examined for errors. Search through pocket change deliberately and carefully. Examine every 1999 P quarter you receive and save anything that looks even slightly unusual. Join online communities where collectors share finds and knowledge. Learning from experienced error variety hunters accelerates your education dramatically. Invest in basic equipment, including a good loupe or microscope, proper lighting, and reference materials showing images of known error varieties. When you find something potentially valuable, protect it immediately in a proper holder. Never clean it or do anything that might damage it, and submit it to PCGS or NGC for authentication. Build relationships with reputable dealers who can help you identify finds and provide fair market value if you decide to sell. Most importantly, be patient and persistent. Finding a valuable error requires examining hundreds or thousands of coins. But when you find one, that effort pays off in ways that can change your life. As we wrap up this incredible journey through the most valuable state quarter errors ever discovered, let's recap what makes these coins so extraordinary and what you should do right now. The 2014 D. Arch's quarter worth up to $29 million shows us that modern coins can achieve values competing with classic rarities when spectacular errors occur. The 2006 D. Nevada quarter worth up to $41 million proves that beautiful designs combined with dramatic errors create perfect storm demand. The 2004 D. Iowa quarter worth up to $67 million demonstrates how die failures create some of the most visually spectacular and valuable errors. The 2002 P. Indiana quarter worth up to $85 million shows that multiple error types on a single coin create exponential value. In the 1999 P. Pennsylvania quarter worth up to $103 million stands as the ultimate achievement in modern error collecting, combining historical significance, perfect grade, and spectacular multiple errors into the most valuable modern coin ever sold. Every single one of these coins started as ordinary pocket change. Every one was worth just 25 cents when first minted, and every one had the potential to sit unnoticed in circulation for years or decades before someone recognized their value. That means right now, today, there are almost certainly valuable error quarters in circulation, in change jars, in drawers, in pockets, waiting for observant eyes to discover them. And that next discovery could be yours. Here's what you need to do immediately. First, subscribe to Error Coins Hunter so you stay updated on valuable coin varieties and never miss critical information that could make you wealthy. Second, hit that like button and share this video with everyone you know, because you might help someone discover a fortune hiding in their change. Third, start searching your quarters systematically. Examine every state quarter from 1999 to 2008, look for the error characteristics we've discussed, and save anything that looks even slightly unusual. Fourth, invest in basic magnification equipment so you can properly examine coins for the subtle details that distinguish valuable errors from normal coins. Fifth, educate yourself continuously. Study error varieties, learn proper grading standards, understand authentication processes, and build the knowledge that lets you recognize valuable finds. Sixth, when you find something potentially valuable, protect it properly and get it authenticated by PCGS or NGC. Never assume a coin is worthless without expert examination, and never clean or alter a coin that might have value. Seventh, consider joining coin clubs, attending coin shows, and building relationships with experienced collectors and dealers who can help you learn and grow in this fascinating hobby. Eighth, check your change every single day. Make it a habit to examine coins before spending them. And remember that the next coin you receive could be worth millions if you recognize what you're holding. The potential to find life-changing wealth in your pocket change is real. These aren't fairy tales or legends. These are documented sales of coins that started in circulation and were discovered by ordinary people who took the time to look carefully at their coins. You could be next. You could find that million-dollar error. You could discover the coin that changes your family's financial future forever. But only if you're looking, only if you know what to search for, and only if you take action on the knowledge you've gained from this video. So start searching right now. Check every quarter you own. Examine everything you receive and change. And remember that fortune favors the observant, the patient, and the persistent. Thank you for watching Error Coins Hunter. Make sure you're subscribed because we're constantly uncovering more valuable varieties and sharing the knowledge that could make you wealthy. Drop a comment below if you find anything interesting in your searches. We love hearing discovery stories from our community. And remember, your next quarter could be worth millions, so never stop looking. Until next time, keep hunting those errors, keep checking your change, and keep believing that your fortune might be just one coin away.